Well, folks, good day to you, one and all, and welcome to 2022 iRacing Masters Series. So, what have we got lined up for you? It's going to be once again an amazing session. Season 3 was the best of the best of the best. It was the creation of the iRacing, SA iRacing, MSA approved and sanctioned series. Was the spin-off from what we've actually got here. And the usual commentary team joining us today. Frankie, good day to you.
Good day, Gary.
And also FC Nibba joining us for the series as well. FC, good day to you.
Lovely to be back behind the microphone.
And I tell you what a lineup we've got. Practice is out there at the moment. It's 3 3/4 minutes to go for the end of practice. Why is there nothing else on the screen? Because we don't want you to have any idea as to who is where in the LMP2s that's out there today.
Well, here we go. We're at Daytona International Speedway. It is the road circuit of Daytona International, and the weather shows 18 degrees Celsius. There's a 55% chance of rain, although I don't think it will rain. It's partly cloudy and the wind is only 3 kilometers an hour. So yeah, we're at Daytona, which is at Daytona Beach in Florida in the USA for round number 1 of season 4 of the iRacing Master Series.
Yeah, the track length there 5.69 kilometers with the track temperature standing at 20 degrees Celsius with an altitude of about 11 meters above sea level. And of course the cars used to race in today's event, the Dallara LMP2s, as we see somebody go off very, very hard in this practice session.
How to convert the LMP2 into a lawnmower, starting nice and early. So that's the info of what we have, where we're going to be racing today. As we said to you, as soon as we are finished with the practice session, we'll go straight through into the qualifying. And at around about that point, we're going to now put up the leaderboard and give you the necessary placings that there is. So a lot of the old hands have come back to play. The odds-on favourite for a long time, Frankie, has been Johan Fourie, but the likes of Pieter van der Spy have come through very strong. Luke Lucchese, Graham Stephen, even the likes of Raymond Duggan, Willem Botha, Timothy Stanton, gone from strength to strength. I think this is going to be a very hard-fought series for season 4.
Well, I'll tell you what, Pieter van der Spy, Robbie Teams and Mike Verrier at the end of season number 3 showed exactly what they could do, and they were always in that top 5, 6, 7, or that's where they were at the end of season number 3. Season 1 was won by Johan Fourie, season 2 was won by Francois Joubert, and season 3 was once again won by Johan Fourie. So, and if my facts are right, I think Francois Joubert ended second in season 3. So yeah, this is the iRacing Master Series League, and once again Francois Joubert will give Johan Fourie a run for his money and vice versa, but Willem Botha will be in there. Remember, Willem Botha never had such a great season. At the last event he missed a whole lot of racing due to Dakar commitments. But yeah, he is in. Dakar's finished, he's back in the country again, and he is in for the first race of 2022. He wasn't in for the first race of 2021. That was the first season. So we're going to have a look and see what happens. The time is beginning to run out, and we will start the qualifying sessions in only about 30 seconds from now.
Yeah, only 30 seconds left here in practice session, and then we head on to qualifying. Frankie, just a correction there. Francois Joubert was actually in a third position, with Luke Lucchese being the man that came out of nowhere in season 3 and brought up into that second position and actually took the fight to Johan Fourie all season long, and he showed he was blindingly quick. It was just inconsistency in the beginning of the season, a bit of hot-headedness that actually cost Lucchese that championship overall.
This is true.
Lucchese had blinding pace, as did Graham Stephen at certain intervals as well. Pieter van der Spy became sort of like the stalwart that was there and thereabouts all the time. As we come to the end of the practice session, now we're going to go into the qualifying. The computer says, thanks very much, go home, go away, come back, and We'll see what we can do. And the first man that gets himself just about good to go is in fact Renier Hubert. That's just about ready to come out of the pit lane. Everybody will now log into the computer, and they will get into a situation where they can now get out on the circuit. And the first time they go around, there we go, going out of the pits, one of our gents. Let's put our leaderboard up. So that will give us, once everybody has been out and done one complete lap, next time they come around to finish their second lap, that is when, Frankie, we will start seeing the qualifying lap times coming up.
But FC, Gary, look at the clouds. There's pitch black clouds over Daytona International. I've been watching. They look at the back of those trees there. It's very dark. They did say a 55% chance of rain. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting. Will this one be in the dry? Remember, it was 20 minutes practice, 10 minutes qualifying, and the race is 45 minutes long. Will we see some water? It's very, very dark out there at the Daytona International Speedway.
Well, let's have a look and see as the guys all do their first warm-up lap there for the qualifying session. It is Willem Pinaar was the first man out there in the number 9 Castrol car. We saw him out there and riding on board now with Dr. Mike Verrier in the 8-Call 24/7 car, and looking forward to see what kind of lap times he can put up here at Daytona on the road course.
Well, onto the banked part of Daytona goes 8-Call 24/7. Remember, we're out there in the LMP2 Dallara P217s. That's the cars that we're out in for Round 1, Season 4, iRacing Master Series, as we go around Daytona Speedway and Daytona Road Course with the father of the iRacing Master Series, also the brains behind the GT3 series, which we will be telling you about a bit later on. There is a practice session, and should I say a qualifying session for that one that is going on. The second group of drivers will be qualifying in that one. They didn't do last week, but that will only be in February as we move on with one of our other drivers. It might be Peter van der Spy. I'm not sure which one we are on right now at this point in time. I know Captain Pete did have a green car with black livery on, but yeah, FC, it's dark, and there's a 50-50. That's Timothy Stanton that we're riding aboard with, not Captain Pete van der Spy. But yeah, it's dark out there, and weather conditions looking very ominous.
Well, there's a new thing that we've managed now, thanks to our producer Gavin Fleming, that's been doing some serious homework in the off-season. In qualifying mode, there you can see who's putting in green sectors, who's putting in purple sectors. That's what you want. Purple means you are going fast. So the likes of Francois Hubert, you can see he's in there. Johan Fourie putting up some pretty decent and consistent times there as well. Once they come around and have completed their second lap, their qualifying times will start coming up on the board on the left-hand side.
So Swiss Hubert as Johan Fourie, Luc Leclerc. Here we go. Swiss only 4th fastest. Well done, Francois Hubert so far. And in the practice sessions, FC, I did notice before we went live that at that point in time in practice, Francois and Johan were doing 131s each, and they were chopping and changing, and at one stage Johan did a 130. So they are now on 133.1 and 133.3 apiece, as well as Luc Leclerc, and so was Raymond Duggan and Swiss Hubert. They're all on the 133s, but I do expect that Francois and Johan can get into the 130s and 131s. They were there at the early part of practice early on.
That, FC, is exactly why I didn't put the leaderboard up, so it was going to be an open session. But as you see, Francois Hubert, Johan Fourie, Luc Leclerc. I actually mentioned the name of Raymond Duggan. Wow, hasn't he come along so strong? Graham Stephen, never count him out. It's nice to see a man that initially did very well with the iRacing Master Series, Stephen McCarthy, back out there as well. And we hope to see his brother racing pretty soon, suffering from a back injury, not been able to really press hard on the pedals. So as soon as he's feeling better, we'll have both McCarthys out there. And Uncle Cyril's back with us. Uncle Cyril, welcome.
Yeah, Uncle Cyril Ginsburg back in the car, in the number 12 car. He's posted a time of 1 minute 39.7 at the stage of the fight, only good enough there for that last position, with him being about, it's a 1.1 second and 2.1 seconds behind the 19th position car of Eugene Minuk. But let's have a look here and see what if anybody can improve and catch that time of Francois Joubert. 133.1, 2/10 of a second ahead there of Johan Fourie in P2.
Well, Frankie, if you notice, Francois Joubert, the slide-out time that came was a 133.2. So his second fastest lap is still quicker than the fastest lap by Johan Fourie on a 33.3, and then 3/10 Luke Lucchese outside of that, 1/10 out of that. I think Raymond Duggan's coming in with a serious look at the top 5 for this season.
Well, let me put it to you gentlemen right now at the beginning of the iRacing Master season. If Luke Lucchese can keep it all together and not be such a bit of a hothead, as I know Luke can from karting days, he's a brilliant racing driver.
He's quick.
But if he can keep it together, Gary and FC, we could have another series winner other than the 2 times winner Johan Fourie and the 1-time winner Francois Joubert.
I think FC, the consistency of Peter van der Spey with the pace of Luke Lucchese equals the equivalent of Francois Joubert and Johan Fourie.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we've seen last year Lucchese, especially in the latter part of the season, where he came out and actually became a lot more consistent, and he blew them away. As we have a new leader,
Talking about
Johan
blowing
Fourie,
away.
133.144, 400ths of a second, basically, between Fourie and Francois Joubert now, as our 2 series winners so far, battling it out there for pole position.
Luke Lucchese just finished a lap there, 133.571, so he's just put in his quickest, and that's why he'll be stopping. Francois Joubert still on a run there. Francois Joubert just saw his pop-out time, and he finishes off his second lap. Andre Steenkamp battled to get into the server earlier on, and he's now managed to get into the server, and let's see if we can pick him up out there on track. There is Steenkamp, and he's managed to get himself into 12th position. He might be just getting himself ready for a flyer. We'll see if he now slows down, or does he get the hammer down, having warmed up the tires correctly.
Wouldn't be the same without the Batmobile out on track. So yeah, lovely to see that Andre Steenkamp is in.
Peter van der Spey out there as well. Looks like he's just finished his lap times now. The reason why you're seeing blank screens on numerous occasions, you go out, the computer says to you, hello, welcome, go out, go and have some fun. When you've done your warm-up lap and your 2 laps, it says to you, goodbye, go sleep, go relax. You can come back in 1 minute and 50 seconds from now. So the guys that are out on circuit at the moment, there you see Remy Joubert in the camel colors. When he goes across the line, you'll see a pop out. He's fastest so far, 135.913. As he goes across the start finish line, let's see what time he manages to put up. He's going to go into that little tight section. Oh, trying just a bit too hard with the camel car, and not been able to improve on his time there. I see Leonardo Beccari has just finished his stint out on circuit now. So I think there's still Wayne Camage is on his way in, Mike Verrier is on his way, and just about everybody has now completed their opportunity to be out on circuit and put their lap times in. So I pretty much think that what you see there is probably going to be the starting grid for the very first race of Season 4 iRacing Masters 2022.
Well, Johan Fourie, 133.1. Francois Joubert, 133.1. He's a 133.18 is Francois Joubert. Luke Lucchese, 133.5. As a matter of fact, the first 5 competitors are all in the low to high 133s. Then 134 dead is Peter Joubert. And then there's a whole group of drivers on the 134s all the way down to P15 Timothy Stanton, all there on the 134s. Then the rest of them, 135s, 136s, all the way down to Eugene Minuk, that's on a 137.6, and then Uncle Cyril Ginsburg on a 139.3.
So for those of you that have just joined us now, we at round number 1, 2022, season number 4, Daytona International Speedway, the road circuit. We're just waiting for the grid to come up. As soon as the grid comes up, we will post that for you. And there we go. Let's see, how does that grid look?
Well, Johan Fourie and Francois Hubert are on the front row of the grid, followed there by the second row FC of Luke Lucchese and Raymond Duggan.
Yeah, row number 3 sees Swayze Hubert pulling away in 5th place, followed by Peter Hubert on a P6. 4th row, Peter van der Spey alongside Stephen McCarthy in 8th position.
Row 6 is Sander Bakari, Mike Verrier, and then row 5, and then row 6 is Robbie Teens and Graham Stephen. That's the first 12 cars, the first 6 rows of the grid.
Yeah, looking forward to see what the gentlemen can do as everybody starts to line up there for round number 1 of the Sports and GT Masters Series. We'll just have a look there from 13th position onwards as the graphic disappears from the screen there. We'll pick up those names now as the grid changes up. But the guys all starting to maneuver up and find their positions on the grid, and then we'll get this race underway.
Well, those are your first 6 rows as the LMP2 Delaras, the P217 Delaras lineup. What a way to go. Sports prototype racing here at the Daytona International Speedway. That is the road course with a 55% chance of rain. Remember, 17 errors, you get a drive-through penalty. 25, you pack up and you go home.
You sent back to the pits, yeah. Right, so there we have all the guys lined up. The Porsche safety car moves off the line, and we are ready to get going for round number 1 of the Sports and GT Masters iRacing Series here, with the Dallara LMP2s ready and roaring for action, with Johan Fourie and Francois Hubert giving up the pace in the front.
But FC, I have a question for you as they roll around the track behind the Porsche. On the group was put fuel 100%, so that means you can fill that car fat and you could actually go to the end if your tires would allow you.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the guys do in terms of strategy. I don't think you would make full race distance on it. The tires will definitely be giving in before then, and you're going to be super slow.
Slow if you put in 100% fuel.
Yeah, so it'll be a bit of a strategy thing to find that right balance between the weight of the car with your tires, how long the tires are going to last with the weight in the car, and then when it'll be the perfect time to dive into the pits.
Well, I don't believe that they would have put in 100% fuel. You were allowed to put in 100% fuel, but I doubt very much if any of these drivers would do just that. So we are about to go green as they drop the hammers, and this is race number 1, season 4, as they turn in onto the infield, and it's Johan Fourie from Francois Hubert and Luke Lucchese. Those are the first 2. That's the pit exit you see there on their left-hand side. Into the hairpin they go. This is the center section of Daytona International, and already there's problems out there. And one of the cars involved is, well, he's dropping all down the leaderboard. That is Peter Hubert in that 17 car.
And Raymond Duggan as well.
And he was, and the 4th car number 4, Renier Hubert, was also involved in that situation. I think it just happened all too quick at that point in time, but we will get a replay to confirm exactly who it was, other than just Peter Hubert, as FC they worked their way back out onto the speedway.
Yeah, back out onto the big oval at Daytona they go. Johan Fourie leading them in the Monster Energy car. He's being hounded down by the number 304 Alpha Tauri LMP2 of Francois Hubert, with Luke Lucchese not letting them escape too far ahead down the road. He's sitting there in that 3rd position. Then behind them, Swayze Hubert in 4th. He's made up 1 position from the start, followed there by the likes of Sandro Bakari in the number 72 car, who's right on his case.
Yeah, I'm behind Sandro Bakari. We have got who spun that over there. That is Sandro. Oh, and Sandro Bakari gets clout. I think that's Dr. Mike Verrier. That was a very dark blue car that nailed him. I think it might just be Mike Verrier that hammered him. FC will have a look and see. He's sliding all over the place, and boom!
Yep,
yes, it is the doc that nailed the side of that Dallara of Sandro Bakari.
how to shorten a Dallara LMP2 in 2 seconds. But look at this, there's a fight up front as the Alpha Tauri car of Francois Joubert goes right up along the side there of Johan Fourie, does a switchback, goes for that inside and takes P, or tries to wrestle P1 away there from Johan Fourie. They're side by side going down that inside straightaway, but it's still Johan Fourie that barely clings on to P1, and Luke Lucchesi is right there with them.
Yeah, Luke is right in there with that number 18 car sitting right on that back bumper of a second place man, Francois Joubert, who's on the case there of Johan Fourie. The intervals between the three of them cannot be much. I'm sure that will be put up pretty soon if you can see the interval gaps between the drivers and also see where all the fights are in that mid-pack position. But right now, talking about fight, it's between Fourie, Joubert and Lucchesi. As here comes Lucchesi. Lucchesi is right on the case there of Francois Joubert, who in turn is all over the back bumper there of race leader, current race leader.
Fourie makes a
Fourie!
mistake. Fourie makes a massive mistake there, and that hands the lead over to Francois Joubert and Luke Lucchesi as Fourie starts tumbling down the order there as all the cars come flying past. Johan Fourie now making his way back out onto the oval. He cannot be too happy with that one.
You wouldn't believe that in a month of Sundays, Johan Fourie making a critical error, dropping all the way down to P10 on the leaderboard is Fourie, but Luke Lucchesi will say, thank you very much, Johan. I will take this one now. If Luke Lucchesi can keep a cool head, we know how fast and how quick Luke Lucchesi is in real time and sim time racing. There's no reason why he cannot win this one. What Francois Joubert has to do right now is go with Luke Lucchesi, and Johan Fourie in P10, he needs to calm it down because there is still quite some way to go. And we'll soon see on top there exactly how many minutes has elapsed and how many must still go.
Yeah, well, as they sit there, it is Lucchesi that's now slowly but surely starting to pull away from Francois Joubert after making that move and getting past. It's already gone up to half a second that Lucchesi is ahead there of Joubert. In fourth position, Willem Bottas made up a whopping 10 places from the start of this race in the Denso Toyota Motorsport car. Behind him, Willem Pinar in the Castrol Racing car. He's made up 12 positions from the start of this race and has done very, very well to keep himself in that fifth place, with Graham Stephen in the sixth place, having made up 6 positions from the start of the race.
I was just going to say, watch out for Graham Stephen. He's only a second behind Willem Pinar at this point in time, and he is one of the favorites as well for the 2022 season. Let's have a look again at the mistake that Fourie made. He turned into that chicane, and as he came out, he just bounced over the curbs, overdone it, and turned himself inside out on the exit of that bus stop chicane.
Yeah, the curbs put there for a very specific reason, to stop you from trying to steal too much track there and give you an advantage, and in some cases actually costing you. Let's see who goes off here. Ooh, that's a hard knock. Eugene Manouk getting stuck up in the tyre barrier there. Gerald Mauger had a bit of a moment. Yeah, climbed onto the grass and turned an LMP2 into a gardening service there for a very short period of time.
Yeah, and he was challenged there by Andre Steenkamp. But right back into the front of the field we go with race leader Luke Lucchesi, who's only 7/10 of a second ahead there of Francois Joubert in that second position. In turn, they are 5.4 seconds ahead of Sway Joubert as we ride aboard with Francois in that second position. Lovely looking steering wheel there, lovely purple, blue and red and green and orange instruments on that steering wheel on that Dallara P217 LMP2 car of second place man Francois Joubert. That is right on the case of Lucchesi. We go to the front bumper cam of the Dallara as he sits right underneath that wing of Lucchesi, and now has a look on the outside. He's disappeared from our view completely. Why? Because FC is side by side with Luke Lucchesi.
Yeah, side by side now, actually starting to inch ahead there of Lucchesi, but he's still on that outside line, not quite where you want to be into that left-hander, as Lucchesi claws back that first position and manages to stay ahead there of Francois Joubert. But what a lovely line that is to take through that bank corner that Francois Joubert took, and that's what allowed him to carry so much speed out of that corner and almost make a move there on Lucchesi.
Well, it's back to 4/10 of a second that Lucchese is ahead there of Hubert. And Johan Fourie in turn will go have a look there just now. Johan Fourie is only, I think he's just gone past. Yes, he was right on the case of Tiaan Dames. And he's made the move there on Dames, and he's moved up there into that 7th position. And that, FC, is the replay of the Johan Fourie overtaking move.
Yeah, that is Fourie putting the move there, doing a bit of a switch back there, coming from that outside line down to the inside, then back to the outside, back to the inside, and eventually gets his nose up on the inside there of Tiaan. Is it Dames or Damas?
I was thinking the same thing now, I think it might be Damas. That makes a lot more sense to me.
Damas, sê my wat jou naam is. Out
Damas,
here
yeah,
at
that's
Daytona. But riding on board there with Rainier Hubert in. Ooh, the camel getting it all out of shape there of Rainier Hubert. And let's have a look here what's happening at the front. Lucchese still not being able to breathe too much as Francois Hubert is putting up a lot of pressure. Once again goes and sits on that high line through the bank corner, but he's got to give up that attack into turn number 1.
Yeah, into that left-hander. He's not exactly on that preferred racing line, so he'll just stick that P217 right underneath that back wing of Lucchese. Into that center section they go now. There'll be another, I think it's a right-hander coming up, yes. No, it's a left-hander coming up. I'm not too sure about the... that's the right hand. That's another hairpin that they're coming up on, and then that will lead them eventually back onto the oval side of it, onto the speedway.
Johan Fourie has now just gotten past Graham Stephen as well. He's brought with him there Tiaan Damas. It looks like Graham Stephen might actually be having some connectivity issues as he's dropping down the log there quite heavily, unless he sustained some damage. But let's have a look here. Riding on board with P3 man now, Suez Hubert in the Dell number 22 Delara. Behind him, the number 9 of Willem Pinaar, the Castrol Racing number 9 car of Pinaar, out in that 4th position. He's being chased down by Willem Botha, but look at this, Frankie. Going for the outside is Johan Fourie as he goes, sits around the outside, makes that move stick into the banked corner. Johan Fourie moving up into 5th.
Into 5th position is Johan Fourie. There's Tiaan Damas that is in that 7th position. And then it's pretty strong out there behind him. André Steenkamp in what we refer to as the Batmobile. Then Robbie Teens is in there behind him in P9. P10 is Stanton. P11 is Gerald Murget. That's going a bit farming there is Murget. And he's lost out there to Wayne Camage now. That goes around him on his outside. Here is a replay of the Dr. Mike Vera going into one of those bust-up chicanes.
Same subplot as Johan Fourie, yeah.
Only difference is Johan did it in the left-hand side curb. Mike done it on the right-hand side, the inside curb.
Yeah, making his way back onto the track there. Dr. Mike went for a bit of low flying in the 8-call 24/7 car. But riding on board with Gerald Murget now, Luc Lucchese, the man up front, who is staying ahead there of Francois Hubert. Hubert trying everything to get that Alpha Tauri sponsored Delara closer and closer to Lucchese, but the gap being very consistent now at around about 0.4, 0.5 of a second between Lucchese and Hubert.
Well, FC, the question is, as we spoke about earlier on, they were allowed to take 100% fuel. Neither you, Gary, or myself believe that they would have done that. So the question is, how much fuel did all these drivers take? And when will the first pit stop be? Those are the questions. We will find it out shortly. We're only on lap number 7, approaching 11 minutes into this 45-minute enduro, as we ride aboard with André Steenkamp, and he is right on the case of Tiaan Damas, 0.2 of a second in there just behind Damas.
Yeah, Steenkamp now starting to apply pressure. He takes that high line in the banked corner as he tries to carry as much speed as he can through that corner. It's going to start leveling out now pretty soon. That should give him a nice slingshot. Now he's right in there behind him, catches a nice toe, dives for the outside, goes, sits right up along the side of him. But now they've got to start hitting the brakes again for that first turn into the infield section.
Yeah, whoa, and taking out the bollards there is André Steenkamp, and then diving ahead there of Tiaan Damas. But Lucchese and Hubert are going one-on-one, 0.3 of a second between the two of them, make that 1/10, make that virtually nothing, because Francois Hubert is crawling all over the back end of Luke Lucchesi. One mistake by Lucchesi and he is history out there, and he knows it. In his sim rig, he'll have a rear view mirror and he will know that that number 304 Alpha Tauri sponsored LMP 217 Dallara is right on his back wing as we ride aboard now with Lucchesi looking back towards second place man Francois Hubert.
Yeah, I predict that we're still going to see some very, very hot racing between these two guys up front. And the big question is, can Johan Fourie make up the positions that he's lost and try and catch up to those front two?
I think he can, because we're on board with Johan Fourie and he's 0.2 of a second behind fourth place man Willem Pinaar in the Castrol Dallara P217. Has he made a move on him? No, he hasn't. He's now 0.04 of a second, which means he's basically side by side with him. He sits on the outside there of Willem Pinaar. Pinaar's got the inside line on the banked oval into that left-hander, and he dives into turn one. He dives in there ahead of Willem Pinaar.
Well, Frankie, while Johan Fourie was battling it out there, we have a leader change. Francois Hubert just overtook Luke Lucchesi and now pulling us a bit of a sizable gap between himself and Lucchesi. We'll go back to the replays there. Let's have a look and see what happened. Was there a mistake? Yes, he ran very, very wide. That opened the door very, very wide for Francois Hubert to reclaim that first position.
Well. The mistakes are beginning to come to play. Remember, these guys haven't been racing for a good couple of months now, so they will be extremely hungry. That's a replay at the Tiaan Dames, and contact there between himself and the dock. Going into that left-hander, Timothy Stanton all went through. Now, Johan Fourie is 8.5 seconds behind Swiss Hubert in that third position, who in turn is 7.7 seconds behind Luke Lucchesi, who is 0.4 of a second behind race leader Francois Hubert. So he's caught up right onto the back bumper and wing there of Francois Hubert has Luke Lucchesi, as we now ride aboard with Luke Lucchesi.
Well, Frankie, I just had this very funny picture in my head as Luke Lucchesi's car went underneath all the lights. It looks like it was pulsing between the different shades of red, and it almost reminded me of the cartoons where they pulsate that red to show they're angry. So Luke Lucchesi definitely being very angry with himself there for running wide there and relinquishing that lead, and he's on the attack now to try and get past Francois Hubert.
Yeah, and they've got a back marker that's just ahead of them that they need to clear. It might be the number 4. Yes, it is indeed. It is Renier Hubert that they put a lap on there. So Renier just been lapped there by Francois and by Luke, as they've done 10 laps and nearly 15 minutes out of 45.
Well, let's see if there's anything else happening throughout the field. Stephen McCarthy finds himself there in the 12th position. Dropping down now. Raymond Duggan, the man back on the move there after having a torrid first lap, and he's now finding himself there in that 12th position ahead of Tiaan Dames. Let's have a look here what happened. Yeah, that is Raymond Duggan in the 71 overtaking Tiaan Dames and busy fighting his way back. We saw he actually was something like 5th place or 6th place that he qualified in. So Duggan definitely the man on the move this season and busy fighting his way back up to the front.
Right, so Gerald Murger is sitting out there in that 11th position. He's just behind Herman Lazarus. As a matter of fact, he's right on the case of Lazarus. That was Wayne Camage that got it all wrong there, and Camage will lose out a couple of positions to the. Yeah, it is definitely Camage that gets it out of line, and here comes Herman Lazarus, and behind him is Gerald Murger. Camage steps out of line, and evasive action taken there by both Herman Lazarus and by Gerald Murger.
Well, Murger did pretty well not to collect Herman Lazarus or Camage in that incident, so nice to see the guys so wake up out there. Luke Lucchesi is the man that's back in the lead now ahead of Francois Hubert, so another leader change that has happened there. Lucchesi managed to fight his way back to the front, and Francois Hubert now almost 2 seconds behind him. I wonder if he didn't make a mistake or hit a curb somewhere.
I was watching that. He sits out there in second. Third place is Francois Hubert. He's 6.6 seconds behind, a space behind Francois. Then fourth place is Johan Fourie. He's 6.9 seconds behind Space. Keep an eye there on Johan. He's not out of this one yet. Then Willem Pinaar sitting out there in that fifth position. 2.7 seconds is Pinaar behind Fourie. And the last lap, Luke Lucchese was a 134.1, and yes, 136.4 for Francois. So definitely FC trouble out there for Francois. That's why he was at that stage 1.9 seconds behind Luke.
Yeah, let's have a look here. Here's a replay of what happened to Willem Botha as he came through there. Ooh, ran very wide, took half the bollards out with him as he tried to correct it there, and luckily keeps it on track and no major damage to the number 8 Toyota Gazoo car.
Well, Johan Fourie, P4, and he is certainly the man that's on the move. He's gone down 3 positions. His best was a 133.1, and we saw his last lap there. That's a replay of Captain Pete going for a move and eventually ending up there in the grass and on the kitty litter and bringing that Lara back out on track once again. That's the same replay there of Captain Pete.
Yeah, just a different angle there for Peter van der Spy. Unfortunately, Captain Pete becoming a black and green cow there for a moment, trying to chow some grass. But Eugene Minuk into the pits. And I wonder if this is to repair damage or if we are starting to see the first of the guys starting to do their their pit sessions when we're just under halfway in this race.
Well, normally they put around about between 25 and 27 minutes if they start with 40 or even 50% of fuel. But this one's going to be different. Let's have a look and see exactly how they're going to play this one out. With Francois Hubert now 2.4 seconds behind Luke Lucchese in that second position. And Swais Hubert is in that third position. Now Johan Fourie is only 5.5 seconds behind him. It shows Swais Hubert making his way out of the pits and Luke still in P1 with Francois P2, but FC Johan in that third position.
Yeah, Johan in P3, but it looks like it's showing Johan out of pit lane as well.
Yeah.
So could it be that Johan Fourie is actually pit now? So I hope it's pit strategy and not connectivity issues out there. There he's back out there. Yeah. But riding on board with Wayne Camage currently in 13th position. He's made up 11 positions from where he qualified with the fastest lap of a 135.037. That was his last lap. Let's have a look.
So we'll have a look and see Johan Fourie going into that left-hander. Johan Fourie, that's going into the
that's
intersection,
that's
and
connectivity.
That's where the connectivity problem came for him. A replay of Luke Lucchese that just appeared out of our view there. And we ride aboard Wayne Camage that sits out there in car 222 in that 13th position. And he is only 9/10 of a second behind Tian Damas. So he is catching up there to Damas. That is the last driver in that top dozen.
Yeah, currently riding on board there with Camage. Behind him, Stephen McCarthy, Rainier Hubert, Sandra Bakari, Peter van der Spy, Willem Botha, Mike Verrier, Leonardo Bakari, and Peter Hubert, with Manuk, Stephen, and Ginsberg rounding off your grid there. Let's have a look here at what Stephen McCarthy can do in the Sujin Properties car, the 44 car of Stephen McCarthy. But ahead of him, Wayne Camage now coming under a lot of pressure. It seems that's a lap that they put there on Mike Verrier. So Mike Verrier trying to unlap himself in that 8-core 24/7 car as he's right there behind Wayne Camage.
Yeah, then just behind him is that number 4 car of Rainier Hubert. That's the Campbell sponsored Lara P217, and they're all fighting out there for that mid-pack positions. We look at Leonardo Bakari, and he had connectivity issues, did Leonardo Bakari. That's why you saw him just disappear off the screen there. So Wayne Camage also making his way around, and this is a look at Rainier Hubert in that number 4 car. Remember, he was one of the cars that was involved in one of the situations. Oh, and he clouts the 22 Dell car and does Rainier Hubert, and both of them finding themselves out there in no man's land.
Well, the camel car trying to get back in behind the Dell car to get a tow there from him, it seems, to get going. But the two of them getting going again, and Renier Hubert unfortunately banging into the back there. But let's have a look what happens here with your race leader, the man who sits up in P1, Luke Lucchese, with a fastest lap of a 1:718, 1 minute 33.718 there for Lucchese. Francois Hubert, the man in second place, 1 minute 33.789. He's the fastest lap time out there so far in this race, and currently lapping at about 0.2 of a second slower.
Right, so we see the 1:33.9. That's the last lap. So 1:33.673 by Johan Fourie. That is his last and his quickest lap. Johan Fourie on lap number 15, and it's also the fastest lap of the lot at this point in time. So Fourie has systematically worked his way up into that third position, and we'll have a look just now to see how far Johan is behind Francois Hubert. He will give it horns all the way to try and catch up to Francois Hubert. That's done a personal best of a 1:33.789 and a 1:33.718 for leader Luke Lucchese.
Yeah, Francois Hubert sitting out there in P2. His fastest lap so far was a 1:33.789, and his last lap 1:34.123. So pit stops, let's have a look there. The only guys that have done the pit stops, Raymond Duggan's done one so far, Sandra Bakari, Renier Hubert, Peter van der Spey, Willem Botha, Mike Verrier and Leonardo Bakari has all done one, and Eugene Minuk has done two. But that's all just to fix damage. No strategy stops at this stage of the fight.
Yeah, those were all drivers that were involved in some kind of issue that they had to go back there and get some running repairs. So we have a look from the rear cam of race leader Luke Lucchese's car to see exactly where Francois Hubert is. Right now you cannot see him there. You see him coming into that right-hander now behind Lucchese. Johan Fourie 1:32.9. He is the fastest man out there at this point in time, sitting there in that third position. Remember that in practice he was on a very high 1:30s when he was trading times there with Francois. Luke Lucchese gets it wrong. Luke Lucchese, the leader, coming out the right-handed hairpin, finds himself on the grass, and he will not be very happy with that as Francois Hubert comes through and Francois hits the lead. Remember, he was over a second behind Luke at one point in time, and he now leads with Lucchese that drops down into that second position. It
just shows you how quickly things can change in this race. The man was leading by more than a second, and then all of a sudden a tiny lapse in judgment, a lapse in concentration, and that put him wide and opened the door wide for Francois Hubert to slip through and take the lead in this race.
So, Francois Hubert making his way out of the pits. Remember, he was involved in an accident a lap or two ago with a 4 car of Renier Hubert, him being in the Dell car, Swiss, and obviously making his way therefore into the pits to get that one sorted out. As we have a look there at Stephen McCarthy sitting there in that 13th position, and he has got Gerald Mouget right there in front of him, and Mouget in turn has got Camage in front of him. So that's a lovely fight between the three of them for that 11th position.
Yeah, let's have a look here. Tian Damas trying to change the track limits by moving some of the bollards and planting that Dallara into the tyre barrier. But riding back on board now with Francois Hubert, your race leader in the Alpha Tauri sponsored Dallara LMP2, leading this race ahead of Luke Lucchese. He's got 2.1 seconds between himself and Lucchese, with Johan Fourie a further 7.5 seconds down the road.
But with Lucchese going wide again, Luke Lucchese was off track there going into that left-hander, and all of a sudden Luke must be careful. He's got a decent lead. He's 2.8 seconds ahead of, what should I say, behind Francois Hubert, so he cannot afford to make that mistake. But that fight is still on there for that 11th position between Camage, McCarthy and Mouget. And McCarthy has made the move there on Gerald Mouget. And now Tian Damas is also in that fight again. And Mouget is only he's losing ground now. 5/10, 6/10, 7/10 of a second. So McCarthy made the move there on Mouget. And you can see by Mouget's times that Stephen is slightly beginning to edge away from him.
Yeah, Stephen slightly starting to pull away as it's now gone to just over a second there for McCarthy and Mouget. But Mouget not giving up yet. You can see he's literally fighting to try and stick there with him and try to not let McCarthy run away with this one. As we look at this beautiful aerial shot there of somebody running a bit wide there. Is that... I think that was Mouget that ran a bit wide there. But riding on board with Gerald Mouget now in the Gulf Oil and Views sponsored Delara. And let's have a look there behind him. Sandro Bakari, Tian Damas, Reinier Joubert and Peter van der Spy.
Right, 27 minutes done and 18 laps. Who will blink up front for pit stops if there are going to be any? We'll have to look and see, as Gerald Mouget is up 6 positions, sitting there in that 13th spot.
Well, a lot of the guys really behaving themselves out there today. We know this is not the easiest of tracks, sometimes very, very tricky, but only so far.
Shows that after 3 seasons of iRacing Masters Championship race events, that their licenses have got all better and better, and their experience has got all better and better, that they're making all less and less mistakes out on circuit, which is absolutely amazing. As we have a replay here at Willem Botha.
Same spot.
That Mike Verrier clipped that right-hand side inside curb and turns that Toyota Denso outfit inside out.
Yeah, that curbstone has proven to be a giant slayer out here today. We've seen Fourie fall for it, Mike Verrier fell for it, and now Willem Botha as well. But Tian Damas into the pits in the number 10, Santander, and it's basically the Ferrari colours on that Delara with a Santander sponsorship. But a lot of the guys diving into the pits. Ooh, who's that? Reinier Joubert without the nose on that Delara.
And all of a sudden the nose is fixed, and behind him we see Camage. Wayne Camage is also there in the pits doing their routine pit stops as they came in together and they come out together in basically the same way they came in. The 4 car ahead there of the 222 car, and that's the way they make their way back out onto circuit.
Yeah, that is Wayne Camage there behind Joubert as they now going to exit pit lane. And it's all going to be that drag race down into the first corner that they can get to after exiting pit lane. And Reinier Joubert had a good start there, and Wayne Camage just not up to catch up to him.
Well, Willem Pienaar finding himself in that 4th position, but there are now serious gaps between all of them. With Pienaar 10.9, nearly 11 seconds behind Johan Fourie, who in turn is nearly 17 seconds behind Luc Lucchesi, who is almost 3 seconds behind Francois Joubert. So the gaps are pretty big up front. There's no close dicing so far, with 14 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, 14 minutes to go after lap number 20. Let's have a look there. Let's start from the top there with Francois Joubert leading this race out in the AlphaTauri car in a 2nd position. Luc Lucchesi is the man. He's about just under 3 seconds behind Joubert, and then he's being hounded down by the number 14, a Monster Energy car there of Johan Fourie.
In that 3rd position, Willem Pienaar in the Castrol outfit is there in that 4th position, 11 seconds behind Fourie. Then André Steenkamp in the Batmobile is in P5. He's 3.8 seconds behind Pienaar. Robbie Teens in P6 in car 15, 8.1 seconds behind Steenkamp. Raymond Duggan in P7 in car 71 is 4.4 seconds behind Robbie Teens. Timothy Stanton is in P8 in car 69, and he is 2.8 seconds is Stanton behind Duggan. Sway Joubert is in that 9th position in car 22, 14.2 seconds behind Stanton, and rounding off the top 10 is Herman Lazarus in car 16, and is 3.1 seconds behind Swiss Hubert.
P11, Stephen McCarthy out in the number 44 Sujin car. He's being chased down by Gerald Murget, who's about 11 seconds behind McCarthy in car number 41. Behind him, Wayne Camage in the 222, 29 seconds behind Murget, and he's being chased down by Sandra Bakari in the 72 car out in 14th position. Followed by Peter van der Spey in car number 13, 14 seconds behind Bakari, and then Willem Botha finds himself in that P16 in car number 8.
Yeah, he's 18 seconds behind Peter van der Spey. Is Willem Botha in car number 8, and he is down 2 positions from the start. 17th place is car number 10, Tian Damas, and he's 12.6 seconds behind Willem Botha. 18th place is Dr. Mike Verrier in car 33, and then in where we now in Renier Hubert has gone past Mike Verrier, so Mike has dropped down into that 19th position, and then Leonardo Bakari in car number 6 finds himself in 20th position. 21st, Peter Hubert in car number 17, and then 22nd is Eugene Manouk in car 52, and Graham Stephen. Well, it's all gone horribly wrong for Graham Stephen. He is in 23rd position in car number 1, but he's 5 laps down. I think he's not in this race anymore, to be honest with you. As you have a replay and have a look to see what happened there to Johan Fourie, he might have had connectivity problems. He just disappeared there, and but he will certainly be having a look and see, is that Timothy Stanton that's in there ahead of Peter van der Spey? No, yes it is, but we're looking at Peter van der Spey once again spinning that number 13 Dallara around.
Well, last season, if there was somebody there that was waiting to pick up any points, decent points from any mistakes from the top guys, it was Peter van der Spey. His opening stint not happening here for him tonight, as Johan Fourie becomes the first of the big hitters to dive into the pits.
Yeah, into the pits comes Fourie, and here comes Andre Steenkamp in what we still refer to as the Batmobile, in that 46 Dallara, a replay of Herman Lazarus going onto the embankment at Daytona. And then Leonardo Bakari as well making his way around. Francois Hubert coming into the pits. So 34 minutes and 22 laps they're in, and here comes Luc Lucchesi. So Francois Hubert is in, Luc Lucchesi is in, Johan Fourie is in, all the big bombers are now in the pits. Herman Lazarus is in. The guys now FC with 35 minutes done and 23 laps completed are now beginning to make their way into the pits for their routine pit stop.
Yeah, a splash and dashes for most of the guys here. I think Lucchesi completely missed his pit box, and that might cost him in the long run of things, as Francois Hubert has actually already left the pits, and only now does Lucchesi get going, so that might have cost him a couple of seconds there in that battle in the race to most points in the first race of the 2022 championship here at the Sports and GT Master Series.
Robbie Teings making his way into the pit lane as well. He pits out of that 5th position. He went up 6 places. Remember that there were a lot of guys that pitted, and he kept on going. Timothy Stanton up 9, pits out of P6. Does Timothy Stanton. His last lap was a 1:45. Understandable. It was his slow down lap making his way into the pit area. But Francois Hubert out on track in P1, 7.4 seconds ahead of second place man Luc Lucchesi in car number 18. Raymond Duggan, well, in that 3rd position in car 71. He's 5.5 seconds behind Luc Lucchesi, and that is a turnout for the books. Well done, Raymond, as Gary was saying early on, one of the stars in season 3. Johan Fourie in P4 in car number 14, 6.7 seconds behind Duggan. But FC, I think we need to watch that, because that time between Duggan and Fourie, I believe, will start to shrink very soon.
Yeah, you can definitely be sure of that. Johan Fourie's got to chase down these guys to try and maximize his point collection today, and not allow Hubert and Lucchesi to get too far ahead. As Raymond Duggan, is that true? Did he get past Lucchesi?
Well, yep, that's what it showed. That, oh, geez, well, he was in that 3rd position, and I still said well done there to Duggan. So let's have a look and see, did he pass him, or is there just a connectivity problem? Here comes Raymond Duggan. Yes, he did.
So there's problems for Lucchese. He slowed it right down. He
That
made
was
a
a
big
legit
mistake.
pass.
Yeah. Well done, Raymond Duggan. That might just be the surprise podium of the season.
Well, it's going to have to go somewhat, as coming out the pits there was car number 4, and that is René Hubert, that made his way back out onto the track in that Camel-sponsored Dallara. So, Luke Lucchese in car number 18 in that third position, 2.1 seconds behind Duggan. That gap will close. That gap is going to close, but Johan Fourie in turn is only 4 seconds behind Lucchese as well, with 37 minutes that is done. I think we're going to be in for an interesting couple of last couple of minutes, I should say, of this 45-minute enduro.
100%. This race is far from over, and there's quite a few big battles that is brewing. It's going to come right down to the wire by the time the checkered flag comes out on minute number 45.
Well, Francois Hubert, as far as I'm concerned, has done it spot on. He's done this 38 minutes done on lap 24. It's almost in the bag for Francois Hubert. All he needs to do is keep it on the tarmac, and he should see the checkered flag in P1. Is there enough time for Duggan to secure that second position? He's 12.9 seconds behind Hubert. That's not what the problem is. The problem is we know that Luke Lucchese and Johan Fourie will be going like the proverbial bats out of hell to try and catch him. And,
Duggan's in the pit lane.
yeah, well, they don't have to catch him because he has made his way into pit lane. Well spotted there, FC.
Yeah, Duggan dove into the pit lane out there. So unfortunately, but I would say I almost feel robbed there because we were so
Yeah,
excited,
I was
and
gonna say-
we never realized that he hasn't actually pitted yet.
No, I was going to
but,
say, damn, we're in for a good one. And all of a
Yeah.
sudden, Duggan says, no, I need to go pit.
But we are definitely still in for a good one, with Johan Fourie only 3.4 seconds behind the likes of Lucchese. So, hey, we're still in with the race there for second and third.
Yeah, that's not done yet. There's 3.3 seconds, as FC was saying, between Luke and Johan for that second position. Francois, I think, has done enough to win it. I don't believe Sway Hubert will catch Luke or Johan at this point in time. Willem Pina does have an outside chance to catch up to Sway Hubert. But yeah, it's basically between car 18 and car number 14 for that second position.
Well, we see a lot of chop and changes out in the midfield. Andre Steenkamp sitting in that 8th position ahead of Stephen McCarthy. Herman Lazarus out there behind them. Let's have a look here and see what happened to Wayne Camage in the 222 car. Came around, got that same sausage curb that has caught out a couple of giants in the sport already.
Yeah, as replay at Sandro Bakari going into the left-hander. That's going into the infield section. There's the pit lane on his left-hand side as he makes contact there with the outer part of pit wall.
Let's have a look here. Francois Hubert leading this race in the 304 AlphaTauri car. 15 seconds ahead there of second place man Luke Lucchese in the Momo Dallara LMP2. He's got about 2.7 seconds between himself and Johan Fourie down in third place, with Swayze Hubert sitting in that fourth position, about 17 seconds behind the likes of Fourie.
Yeah, Francois Hubert. There's Willem Pina coming through. His best was a 1:34.5 and a 1:35.1 is his last lap. That is fifth place man Willem Pina, and up 12 positions is Willem Pina. Then Raymond Duggan down 2 positions. His best there was a 1:33.1 and his last was a 1:59.7. So clearly that was outlap there from pits for Raymond Duggan. All we went off the circuit big time. There's Robbie Teings up 4 places in P7 with the best of 1:34.4 and the last of a 1:34.6.
Andre Steenkamp finds himself there in 8th position. He's gained 5 positions since the start of this race. Fastest lap of 1:34.012 is basically he's doing a very consistent lap times. 1:34.9 was his last lap out there. Stephen McCarthy in position number 9, just half a second behind Andre Steenkamp. So we're in for a nice battle there. You can actually see Steenkamp right ahead of him there, and I think we can still see a nice battle here for that 8th and 9th position.
Yeah, Stephen did a 1:34.3 and his last a 1:34.3, so his last is also his best lap. He sits there in 9th place and he's busy challenging Andre Steenkamp for the 8th position. He's 7/10, make that 6/10 of a second. Is he there behind him? So let's have a look and see. That one is not finished yet for that 8th position.
Adman Lazarus is the next man out there in 10th place in the number 16 car. He's 21 seconds behind this battle out here, as you can see him make his way around the circuit out there now. He's moved up 6 positions from the start of the race with the best lap time of a 1:35.3. Behind him, Wayne Camage in the 222, 10 seconds behind Lazarus. He sits out there in P11 with Gerald Murget, Willem Botha and Tian Damas, the next 3 guys behind him.
Yeah, but that fight for 8th is not finished yet. There's now a second, or there's nothing between the two of them, and Steenkamp goes down 1 position. Steve McCarthy has moved up into a P8. So as we were watching the rest of the leaderboard, Stephen McCarthy made the move there on Andre Steenkamp, and he made it stick, and Stephen has now moved up into P8.
Oh, that was a beautiful move, sitting on that outside of the embankment, carried a lot of speed out of that corner, and they did a nice even sweep into that to turn in onto the infield, and that's what helped him in that pass on the likes of Andre Steenkamp.
Well, Gary was just showing me something as we were watching that fight there for 8 between McCarthy and Steenkamp. Have a look at Johan Fourie. He's 1.1 seconds behind Luke Lucchese, and that fight for second, as you were saying earlier on, is not over yet. With just under a minute and a half to go, Francois Hubert has won this one very comfortably indeed. He's 15.3 seconds ahead of Lucchese, but it's not done yet between Lucchese and Fourie. And for that matter, Pienaar and Duggan, there's a fight there as well.
I was about to say, the man on the move at this stage of the fight, Raymond Duggan. We thought it was all over for him when he had to dive into the pits, but he's now starting to apply pressure there on Willem Pienaar, keeping that under half a second, and keeps on gaining and gaining on that number 9 Castrol car of Pienaar is the 71 car of Raymond Duggan.
45 seconds on the clock left now before the checkered flag comes out. And can Duggan move up 1 more position? Duggan is right in there behind Willem Pienaar. That is the Castrol Dallara you see there, just ahead of the 71 of Duggan. And Duggan wants to end this race in the top 5. He's up on the inside. He's up on the inside, but Pienaar does enough to cover that line.
Yeah, Willem Pienaar just does enough there, as Duggan has to jump behind him into that slipstream. He's right on the case there, but we are 10 seconds away from the end of this race, riding on board with Johan Fourie, who's also on the case there of the likes of Lucchese's right on that back bumper. Are we going to see some sparks fly here as your time is officially over? So that means the next time Francois Hubert comes across the start-finish line, he will get the checkered flag and signal the end of this race. Riding on board there with Hubert, but it looks like Lucchese has got some breathing space there, as one of them must have made a mistake, and that is Johan Fourie that's now fallen back to a second behind.
I don't know so much about breathing space. He's got a back marker in Herman Lazarus that's just ahead of him there, and Johan Fourie has got the best seat in the house. All he must do is go into attack mode, and what Lucchese must do is not get stuck behind that back mark. He mustn't get stuck behind I think it's Lazarus that is just out there ahead of him as we wait. This is the final bus stop chicane. Back out onto track again goes your leader. Francois Hubert flashes lights and says, "Get out of my way." That's to McCarthy. He's saying, "Move out of my way. I want to win this one." And victory will certainly go to Francois Hubert, but it's not done for second yet. And still, Lucchese is stuck behind the back marker. Knight dives up on the inside. The checkered flag has come out, and Francois Hubert has won this race. Hubert has won it with Luke Lucchese coming through in that second position, just ahead. Was that bus stop chicane? No, they're heading towards the flag now. They're heading towards the flag now, and he's done it by 800ths of a second. Lucchese has beaten Fourie into that third position.
Brilliant battle there between Lucchese and Fourie for second and third. Raymond Duggan actually got past Willem Pienaar as well. He's moved up into that 5th place. So Swayce Hubert will be the next man to come across the start-finish line in the number 22 car. The Dell car riding on board with him there. Across the line he goes in 4th. 5th place, Raymond Duggan, the man on the move today. Willem Pienaar comes home in 6th, followed by Robbie Teings. and Andre Steenkamp, the next man that'll be coming through in a P8.
And that will only they will be the only 8 cars that is out there on the lead lap, because Stephen McCarthy got 9th position. You saw that Francois was flashing lights at him saying, "Get out the way, McCarthy, I'm going to win this one," which he did in the end. And so only the first 8 cars ending there on the lead lap, although Steenkamp hasn't got to the checkered flag yet, but he is the last car out on the lead lap.
Brilliant stuff out here. I don't think we could have asked for a better first race of the 4th season, the 2022 season of Sports and GT Masters iRacing Series. What a brilliant race. Johan Fourie was the man that qualified on pole position, and Francois Joubert second, but Francois Joubert did enough in the race to bring home the win, followed by Lucchesi in second and Fourie down in 3rd position.
Well, if you have a look and see, there's Francois Joubert, the winner of season 2, wins race 1 of season 4. Luc Lucchesi, runner-up season 3, finishes runner-up in race number 1. Johan Fourie, the winner of season 1 and 3, finishes 3rd in race 1 of season 4. So if this is anything to go by, FC, we're in for a hell of a iRacing master season.
Yeah, crackerjack of a season that lays ahead of us. Suisse Joubert P4, Raymond Duggan was in a 5th, followed by Willem Pinaar, Robbie Teens, Andre Steenkamp, Stephen McCarthy and Herman Lazarus rounds off your top 10.
And before we hand over to Gary, I know who my driver of the day is. Are we thinking the same? Car number 71?
Oh yeah, definitely. Man on the move, Raymond Duggan for me.
Undoubtedly, he's best to date, no doubt about it. So, FC, closing word from your side. Round number 1, season 4. Magical stuff.
Yeah, I think I've basically said it before. We could not have asked for a better start to season 4 for the 2022 series. And if this is anything to go by, this is going to be nail-biting, sitting on the edge of your seat stuff throughout the year.
And Frankie, if this is what we got in Masters, imagine what that national series is going to be like.
I tell you what, that's going to be absolutely amazing stuff. That is going to be, sure, hell on earth, if I can put it mildly, because it's going to be worse than that. This one, it started off action-packed, and then typical enduro, it petered off towards the middle section, and then the end section, it all came back together again with lots of action. So yeah, I'm looking forward to an amazing iRacing season, not only just in the iRacing Masters, but in the MSA-backed GT3 season, and Gary, in the Porsche Cup as well, which will run in conjunction with the GT3 MSA-backed championship. So it's going to be a fantastic 2022.
No doubt about it. From FC Nieuwoud, myself, Gary Fleming, and the voice of West Rand Motorsport, Frankie Yennis, thanks very much for joining us. See you same time next week, Wednesday. Good night, everybody.